Hello, Booktube, and welcome back. Well, I was eating my lunch outside today in glorious UK weather. It's a little bit windy, but good for UK standards. And I came across a video by Austin from Eternal Reading. Go and check him out. I'll leave his link down below. I don't think it's an original from Austin. He picked it up from someone, but I've completely forgotten. I didn't write it down. And he basically made a video of where were you when you read that book. So it's a bit of a nostalgia tag, really, not really about the book itself, more your memory surrounding the actual book. I think he mentioned as well it's books he had on his bookshelf. I've done a lot of churning over the years and basically chucked a load of my books. And he gave 4 examples, so I'm going to give 4. And I don't think the 4 I've mentioned, I don't think I own them. I own 2 out of 4. One of them's a hardback, top there. One's a digital copy now, and the other 2 I don't own. Some of these are not. It's nostalgia around the book rather than the actual liking of the books. And as you'll see when I get onto mine. But as I said, Austin mentioned 4 books. And out of the 4 books, I read 3. The only one I didn't read, I've written it down somewhere. A History of the World in 10.5 chapters is the only book I haven't read that he mentioned. A lot of his were surrounding the birth of his children. And the other 3 that he mentioned, I have had read. Alex, use English right. So the ones I've read are, well, I mentioned, I think it's Pedro Street Station, isn't it? Or Pedro Street Station, whatever it is. I read that, but I've no memories of the surroundings at the time. I've also read The Name of the Wind, which is book 1 of the Patrick Rothfuss books. What's the series called? So, I can't remember the series name, but it's known for not ending. He hasn't wrote the final book yet. We're never going to get it. Give up. He's done a George R.R. Martin on us. We're not going to get it. Come on, Patrick. Just admit that he was lying all the way through it. That's all we want. So I've read those 2 books, and they're both decent books, but I have no memory of where I was at the time. The one I do kind of remember is Dead House Gates. This is book 2 from the Malazan Book of the Fallen. They're around here somewhere. Or they're behind the V for Vendetta mask. They're around here somewhere. Dead House Gates is brilliant. It's about a retreating army fighting back against this invading army. And it's a Cotalins, I can never remember his name. But he's the main guy who's leading the retreat. It's a brilliant fantasy book. And I was quite trepidatious when I picked it up because the first book, when I first attempted to read Gardens of the Moon, it's like getting thrown into the deep end, Gardens of the Moon. But Dead House Gates is so much more accessible and enjoyable compared to Gardens. And I just remember actually reading it in the woods when it was a nice summer day, And I was with my girlfriend at the time, and it was just absolutely, the sun was baking. Nice Victorian kind of sandwiches and scones and jam. Alex, you're Northern, it's scone. So that's why I remember, because it's quite a chunky book. I've manoeuvred it around my eyes so the sun didn't get my eyes. I just remember that. And that's the only memory I really have of Dead House Gates, of just reading it, nostalgia wise, reading it in like a grassy area in the woods. It was great, nice day. But the 4 books I just thought of straight away. I haven't really given that much thought into the all the memories around books. There's 4 books that just popped into my memory straight away. So without further ado, the one I've still owned is just up there somewhere. I can't be bothered finding it. Not the original version. The original version's long gone. Because this was, I think I must have been 10, 11, something like that. And it was at the time of the year where, roughly about this time, maybe March, where the UK suffers from storms, and later on in the year as well. I remember a storm just completely just knocking out a part of our electric grid in Merseyside, so all the houses are out of electric, so everybody was just by candlelight. And the book I was reading at the time was Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. And it's just that memory of like, reading by candlelight, like the way they must have read, over 100 years ago. That memory just stayed with me, trying to struggle next to candlelight, trying to, read what Pip is moaning about now. Going, oh, this is so old school. So this must have been when I was 10. So we're talking, 96, about 97, somewhere around there, when it completely blacked out our homestead. And everybody was by candlelight. It was a brilliant night, if I remember. Proper everybody gathering round, round candlelight, all in the same room, trying to like get as close as we can to the candlelight. Something from my memory from a long time ago, and that's Great Expectations. The next one is again, a couple of years after this. So this is when I was in high school, so it must have been about 13, 14, round about there. I was, you know what lads are like, especially, when I was about to say, especially when we're younger, we're still like that now. Showing off in front of people, especially girls, there was a zip line, a homemade zip line, between two trees in the park, and one of the bottom tree was like on a slope, so it was a really far fall. And I was like, I'll get on this. So all my mates were like, yeah, go on. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'm going to show off here. Grabbed on the zip line, started to fly, didn't let go, and I just hit the tree and a long fall down, and I badly fractured. I think, it was fractured my right arm. Completely just fractured it, messed it up. But what was funnier is literally the day before, my best friend at the time, Peter, fractured his right arm. So not to be outdone, I did the exact same. And I remember going home to my mum, and she was like, just go to bed, you're lying. I don't believe you. I'm like, no, I have. It's done. It's... And I remember the book I was reading at the time was Insomnia by Stephen King. It's a book I need to reread that because I did enjoy it. I just remember because it was a hardback edition, and it was so unwieldy, especially when you got, a dead arm, and I was like angling it round, and because there was so much pain, and I was on all sorts of painkillers, it didn't do me any favors. I wasn't really getting any sleep anyway, and I was reading a book about insomnia, horror-esque book, and that's always stuck on my mind. Me fidgeting around trying to find a good angle for me to read this book. Oh yeah, those were the days. My mum's face when I appeared at the door because I was holding my hand like this, and my friend was in a cast as well because he fractured the same arm. I just remember my mum's face going, "Get in, just go to bed." I was like, "No, I need to go to the doctors now." And that book was so unnecessarily unwieldy. It was a big hardback edition. Yeah. So next one was, I can't remember the year. I think it must have been 2015, 2016. We went camping up in Scotland, up by Dumfries. It's beautiful camping up in Scotland. Scotland is such a lovely country. If you ever want to visit the UK, you need to pop up to Scotland. It really is nice. And when you go further and further north, there's no one there apart from cliffs and cold. You need to go and check it out. Scotland is really nice. And unlike England and Wales, you can camp where you want in Scotland. So it's good stuff. And I just remember it just absolutely, we got to one point and it was just absolutely howling it with rain, absolutely buckets. This is apocalyptically biblical rain, right? And I was just tucked away, soaking wet, shivering, reading the Sex Lives of Cannibals by J. Martin Troust. Going, oh, me and you, buddy, have got two different lives. If you don't know, that's about him and his, I can't remember if it was girlfriend or his wife. They went to live in the small oceanic island of, is it Kiribati. I think it's pronounced Kiribati, isn't it? Even though it looks like Kiribati, I think it's pronounced Kiribati. But it's about them living in this and trying to get used to living in a small, undeveloped island. And I remember I'm trying to cope with the heat, and here's me just shaking away, trying to get cold with absolute. Mind you, there's nothing greater than listening to like heavy rain on a tent. Maybe like on a corrugated roof, maybe, but being inside a tent, maybe not when you're shivering. The sound of rain is just epic. That's always stayed in mind for like the complete dichotomy of what I was experiencing and what the writer was writing about. And the last one, this was before this. So when was I traveling? I've done a lot of traveling, and this must have been 2010, 2011. This is when I was in New Zealand, and I don't know why I've got such a memory over it. I can't really remember, but I was in a place called the Marlborough Sounds, which is an absolutely beautiful, picturesque, typical New Zealand, landscape. Pardon me. And I just remember we used to work in this like little hotel kind of area, but it was basically islandish. It was a really, really nice place. I just remember in what we call the summer, so May, June, July, all that, it's their winter, so it was cold and it was rainy again. And in the little lodge that we were working at, there was only a small library, and a lot of it was World War II period dramas. Nah, that's complete shite, isn't it? And all the things I didn't really find that interesting. But the two books, there was a series of books in the book I want to talk about. The other series of books was the historical fiction books by Conor Gilden. I think it's called the Conqueror series. The one's about Genghis Khan. Brilliant. I do love a bit of historical fiction, and Conor Gilden does a really good job at it. But the other book it wasn't that good. Not a fan. So this is Battlefield Earth by L. Ron Hubbard. Absolutely trash panda of a book. It is utterly shite. It is the worst of the worst. What's the main? Is it Johnny Goodboy Tyler? It is so bad. I just remember being in like an empty kind of restaurant, because it's summertime. No, it's their winter time, so the lodge was kind of empty anyway. And the restaurant had like a 360 view, a glass 360 view, so you could look upon all like the misty mountains, like proper like Lord of the Rings kind of stuff. All like the misty mountains all the way surrounding you, and with heavy rain. And it's cold outside, but you're warm inside, that kind of stuff. And I just remember reading this utter shite book while absolutely it was just hounding with rain. And that will probably stick with me for a long time, even though the book is absolutely the dogs. So I probably can think of a lot more, but they're the first 4 books I thought of when I was outside thinking about it. So, any memories from any of the books you've read, nostalgia-wise? Where were you? What was you doing? Mention them down below. Give Austin for Eternal Reading a watch and go and give him a sub as well. He's a cool guy. I'll leave all his stuff down in the whatever it is down there. Down there. And that is all. I will see you soon. Bye, Booktube.